Hey everyone, welcome to Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha. So excited to be on here with you tonight for another week of Atomic Habits. For those of you all who don't know me, I'm the owner of Maximize Growth LLC, which is a training and development company located here in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm also the founder of a movement called Connected Women Win. And this is episode 8 of this year. We've been going through Atomic Habits. But before I dig into tonight's topic, let me just ask, how are you doing today? Did you have a great day? I know it's Tuesday, but is your week starting off good? With For me, this today has been amazing. I actually cleared my calendar and got a chance to spend some quality time with my dad today. He came in town from Olive Branch, Mississippi, and got to spend the day with him, or, the bulk of the day with him. And it was really good. It was really good. And how many of y'all know sometimes we just need those moments where we just kind of just put everything else on hold and really hone in on just quality time with our loved ones? And my dad is a college professor and he's retired military. He retired as a major in the Army. And true to form, every time I'm in his presence, it's great quality time, but he is always challenging me. So, of course, he left me with some homework and with the words of, I want to see how you do next time I see you. And so some of y'all wonder, where do I get this passion for leadership development? It started at home for sure. But today, as we talk about atomic habits, we're going to do a deeper dive into how to create good habits and how to break bad habits. We've been focusing on the 4 laws of behavior change. And all of these laws are throughout this book for, like I mentioned, how to create good habits and how to break bad habits. So, for episodes 4 through 7, we've been talking about the first law of behavior change under creating a good habit, and that is make it obvious. How many of y'all have actually been applying some of these principles around this? So he talked about how to make it obvious, but tonight we're going to dig into the second part of the 4 laws of behavior change in creating good habits, and that is make it attractive. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you the other 2, even though tonight we're only focusing on make it attractive, but the other 2 after that are make it easy and make it satisfying. So let me repeat that. How to create a good habit, the 4 laws of behavior change, make it obvious was the first one. And we went through that episodes 4 through 7. If you missed it, you can go back and watch it on my website, maximizegrowthllc.com. Tonight, we're talking about make it attractive. And then we talked about make it easy and we're going to talk about make it easy and make it satisfying. And he also talked about how to break a bad habit. That was make it invisible. So if we're going to make a good habit obvious, we've got to make the bad habits invisible. And we talked about that last week. But going forward, we're going to be talking about breaking bad habits, how to make them unattractive, how to make them difficult, and how to make them unsatisfying. So again, how have you been doing? Those who've been following me, are you using some of these principles to actually make some improvements in your own life? I know for me, I can tell you, I've been more intentional about organizing my environment because we talked about making things obvious. One of the things that I've been doing is I've started cleaning out closets, organizing. I'm in the process of organizing my shoes, organizing my counter space. So my vitamins are on top of my counter. My water is in a visible place. I'm putting apples on the counter instead of having junk food or cookies. So these are things that are really helping me. On my fitness journey, it's really helping me because this week I'm starting to go from where I've been going to the gym twice a week. Now I'm getting ready to ramp that up and go 3 times a week. I'm starting to see improvement in my fitness journey. I did a weigh-in Saturday, and y'all, from January to now, I've lost 7 pounds. I'm down 6 inches. My body fat has decreased by 2.4%. I'm eating healthier, I'm drinking my water, and I've just been more intentional about guarding myself. And when I say myself, my mind. I've been more intentional about guarding my mind against negativity. And so, as we're going through these transformational Tuesdays with Tasha, y'all, this is helping me too. So, please don't think I'm just spouting out information to you. I'm on this journey with you. And I believe that as we go through these weeks, one chapter at a time, by the time we get to the end of this book, wow, I cannot wait to hear your stories. So, I wanted to share some of my stories with you. What have been some of the things that have been helping you? And if you're watching the replay, please let me know. If you don't want to put it on here, you can email me. My email address is Tasha at maximizedgrowthllc.com. I want to hear your success stories. I want to hear how this is helping you. So, as we do this, we can hold each other accountable, we can cheer each other on. But this is definitely a book that we don't want to just get the information just to get it. We want to apply the information. And so, tonight, like I mentioned, we're going to be starting with the second law of behavior change. And if you're following along in the book, we are on chapter 8 in the book, and this is episode 8. And what he talks about here is make it attractive, how to make a habit irresistible. And there was so much good content in here, y'all. I'm going to talk about the content, but then I'm going to share some stuff and then I'm going to be following you along in the chat. So if y'all have some input, please feel free to interject, okay? But in this chapter, Mr. James Clear, the author, he introduced a term called supernormal stimuli. Let me repeat that. Supernormal stimuli. And what this is, it's a heightened or exaggerated version of reality. So the title that I named this live stream was actually a question. And it goes like this. In our society, we crave realness, but we're addicted to fake. I'm going to repeat that. In our society, we crave realness, but we're addicted to fake. Would you say that statement is true or false? Would you let me just hear from you in the chat? Just let me know, true or false. In our society, we crave realness, but we are addicted to fake. What do you say? True or false? And while I'm waiting on you all to respond, I see Sandra here says she's been clearing up piles of papers that somehow appear here and there. Less clutter equal fewer distractions. High five, Sandra. Miss Judy says, I started reading this book and it's amazing. Awesome, Judy. Awesome. So, again, true or false? In our society, we crave realness, but we're addicted to fake. I say it's true 100%. He gave you an example in the form of junk food. He said junk food itself drives our reward system into a frenzy. Our human brain places a high value on salt, sugar, and fat. And he talked about how our ancestors, years and years and years ago, spent hundreds and thousands of years hunting for food in the wild. But today, we have food so accessible to us. We live in a calorie rich environment. He said food is so much in abundance right now but here's the thing, even though our ancestors had to go hunting for food in the wild, and you basically right now where we are, food is a luxury to us. He said, but our brain continues to act like it's scarce. And so, a lot of times with junk food, he said the primary goal of food science is to create these products that are more attractive to us. They have them packaged in bags, boxes, jars, you name it. They've been enhanced in some kind of way. And remember what I said, the value that the brain places on salt, sugar, and fat. And so it's making it attractive to us in the way that it's packaged. He said that there are entire departments that are dedicated to optimizing how a product looks and how a product feels in our mouth. And he said that's a quality known as oral sensation. This is a billion trillion dollar industry to make things attractive to us because our brain craves, going back to what I said with junk food, salt, sugar, and fat, right? And he said they also do things to what it says here, there's also something called dynamic contrast, and it refers to the combination of sensations like crunchy and creamy. There's so much research that goes into making these things attractive to us. And what do? We go for it, right? Because what happens when it comes to natural, unprocessed food, sometimes that can be boring to us. Think about it. You have all of this salty, sugary, fatty food over here. It's packaged good, it's attractive to us. And then you have something over here like kale. And the thing about it is, when you compare the two, think about it. Kale doesn't have that crunchiness like a chip or the smoothness of ice cream or things like that. And so a lot of times what happens is our brain is attracted to the packaging over here, right? But we get bored with things that are good for us, right? And the reason why the junk food industry is doing so well is because what? It has made it attractive to us, and it's fueling our habits. Now, it may be fueling unhealthy habits, but all the same, it's made it attractive to us. There are other things in our society that we could say this about. Think about it. Social media. Social media is attractive to us because what is it that we are attracted to? Likes, the praise, the instant gratification. We're attracted to those things. So what do? We spend time right here scrolling. We spend time, we get lost in those kind of things because there's something in our brain that's looking for, it's attractive to us. Now he goes real deep here and he talks about other things like online porn sites. He talks about other things like other advertisements. All of those things are attractive to us, and what it is they exaggerate features that are naturally attractive to us, and our instinct goes wild because we're looking for that gratification, whether it's shopping online, social media, junk food, whether it's our eating habits. He even mentioned the porn or whatever it else. He said, if we want to increase the odds that a behavior will occur, then we need to make it attractive. And all of those things are attractive to us, but a lot of times those things are fueling unhealthy habits. Are y'all following me? So here's the thing, if it works to fuel our unhealthy habits, what if we reverse this thing and used it in a positive way to fuel healthy habits? Because there's a principle at work here, and what it is these things are attract what it's doing is attracting our cravings, right? And so he said all habits, this is where he got scientific on us. He said all habits share a biological signature, and really what it's doing is it's spiking dopamine. Anybody ever heard this before? Dopamine was discovered in 1954 by neuroscientists, gentlemen named James Old and Peter Milner. And they ran an experiment that basically revealed that neurological processes are behind our cravings and our desires. So remember when I used the analogy of the junk food, and I said our brain is triggered in ways that we're attracted to things, and so we start indulging in things, right? And so they did an experiment around this on rats, and they used sugar, for example. And they said that the ability to take something like sugar, they noticed in the rats that the more that they had sugar, their dopamine spiked. And when their dopamine spiked, their desire increased. But the moment they took the dopamine away, desire died. And so without that desire, action stopped. So, we're talking about atomic habits here, right? So, habits are dopamine driven feedback. They are, let me say that again. Habits are a dopamine driven feedback. So I've been talking about junk food, shopping, all this other stuff, but it all boils down to this. Every behavior that we have is habit forming. Every behavior. It could be something as unhealthy as taking drugs, eating junk food, playing video games, browsing on social media, you name it. All of those things cause a spike in our dopamine. But the same can be said for basic habitual behaviors like eating, drinking, eating food, drinking water, interacting socially. But all of the neurological processes, all that he's saying is it affects how we're motivated, how we learn, it affects our memory, it affects what we take action on. I know this is deep, y'all, but dopamine not only releases pleasure, but when we experience it, but guess what? Dopamine actually releases pleasure when we anticipate something. So, again, if it has been working on our unhealthy habits, what if we flipped it and were intentional about doing things on purpose in a healthy way? How many of y'all have said, I want to be more healthy? I want to eat healthier. I want to feel healthier. Anybody? You've said that, but you found yourself in this cycle of I know what I want to do. No, I'm sorry, let me say it like this. I know what I need to do, but I've been struggling with my wants. And so what he's saying is we have to on purpose be intentional about naming the need, yes, but redirecting the want in a healthy way. Here's an example. I love this example. It's a simple example. He said, you may say, I want to exercise more. That may be the want. I'm sorry, the need. The need is I want to exercise more. But a way that you can redirect this in a healthy way to create healthier habits, he said sometimes you have to stack something on top of what you're already doing. For example, he says maybe your thing is you get lost on social media. You wake up every morning, you check Facebook. What you can do is tell yourself if you want to exercise more before you check Facebook, I'm sorry, before you exercise, let me say it again because I know what I'm trying to say. Y'all, I promise. Just stay with me. If you want to check Facebook, but you need to exercise more, instead of going straight to Facebook when you wake up, he says maybe you should play this game with yourself to say, I won't pick up my phone to check Facebook until I do my exercise first. And maybe your exercise could be I need to do 10 burpees, or I need to do 10 sit ups, or I need to walk, or whatever it is. Before I allow myself to check this, I have to do this first. Are y'all following me? It could be something as simple as that. Or maybe your thing is, I need to be more grateful. And so maybe you say, before I check, we'll use Facebook again. Before I check Facebook, before I check the news, I'm going to on purpose say one thing that I'm grateful for, or I'm going to write something that I'm grateful for in my journal. In other words, you get to direct the thing that you get to direct your needs and you get to direct your wants. And so what happens though is we allow our cravings to drive our behavior as if we don't have any control whatsoever. But y'all, how many of y'all know we are more powerful than we realize? So I hope this is helping somebody to help you to just really understand that you don't have to be a slave to the unhealthy habit. You literally on purpose get to look at your life and say, you know what is it that I've been craving that is unhealthy, that I need to take my power back and really redirect my attention and focus on a positive thing in the right way. So, one of the things you can do, this is an action item right here, is just take inventory. We talked about last week how many of us have bad habits, and everybody said, "Yep, that's me. That's me." Well, today I want to ask you, how many of you all have cravings for things that are not healthy for you? Anybody want to be honest? Anybody? I got my hand raised. Does anyone have a craving for things that are unhealthy for you? And when I talked about dopamine, a lot of times our dopamine is spiked because we get excited about things that we get to experience. And sometimes those things may not be healthy for us. So, one of the things that we have to focus on is paying attention, taking inventory. So, one, write down your cravings. Like, literally, do yourself a favor and write down your cravings. Write down, you know, is this a healthy craving? Is this taking me closer to the person I want to be? Or is this unhealthy? Is this taking me away from the person that I want to be? So, only you can answer that question. Only you can be honest with yourself. So, write it down. Do you have a craving? Yes or no? What is the craving? Is it good or is it bad? Is it taking me closer to who I want to be? Is it taking me away from who I want to be? And then what you have to do is you have to now on purpose identify what is the thing that you're going to do that's going to help you move in a healthier direction. That is what he talked about in this, in making it attractive. I'm sorry, making it attractive, making it irresistible. You have to, on purpose, be honest with yourself and find a deeper motivation for the thing that you want. So I'm going to just pause right there and say, one of my affirmations is, I want to use my cravings to make my habits irresistible. So that means in taking inventory, there are some things that on purpose I have to call it out and in some cases get accountability for. Me being on these Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha and sharing this information with you, this is accountability for me because it means I have to on purpose prepare, on purpose, I have to show up. So this is a form of accountability. Yours may be having a friend or maybe whatever your thing is, but make it so irresistible that you are literally being able to identify, okay, this is my craving and this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and this is what I'm going to do to become the person that I'm called to be. I'm going to put a pin cushion right there because I've shared a lot of information tonight and I'm giving you a lot of things to think about. But next week, we're going to do another deep dive into how to make it attractive. And we're going to talk about in chapter 9 how to involve your family and friends in this because I use the word accountability a lot. And so, how can you on purpose? What is the role of your family and friends in shaping your habits? Because so far, a lot of what I talked about, it's been us identifying, but sometimes we have to raise the stakes and get others involved. Again, if we're going to create good habits and if we're going to break unhealthy habits. If this was helpful for you, I would love for you to share this with someone else who you know could benefit from this. And if you've missed any of these episodes, you can go to my website, maximizedgrowthllc.com. It's on the screen, and you can look under video blogs. And at any time, if you miss anything or you want to go back and rewatch one of these, you can go to my website. But thank you so much for being on this journey with me. We'll be back next Tuesday, 7:00 p.m. Central Time, and we'll be digging deeper into how to make our habits attractive. And again, this is under the 4 laws of behavior change. Thank you so much for tuning in, and y'all have an amazing evening and a great rest of your week. Take care.